Welcome. Today we will be discussing the origins and modern-day factors that fuel violent nature within humans. Violence plays a major part in our world structure and how we have operated for thousands of years. Whether we have used violence to hunt and secure food sources, or to defend members of local villages and tribes. Since the dawn of our conception, violence has always been a part of our nature. The purpose of this video is to explain how humans became violent, what are the motivations for violent behavior, and what are the environmental and psychological aspects that fuel aggressive and fierce dispositions in mankind. Having this discussion can help us to understand the mechanisms behind fierce nature and to answer the deeper questions behind why humans are violent. Since our earliest records of existence, prehistoric man has been involved in some form of interpersonal conflict. Cave paintings and petroglyphs depict animals being hunted and tensions between rival tribes. While these images are open for interpretation, they may reveal the dynamics and competitive nature of early man. Humans, as mammals originating from the animal kingdom, share a close relationship with chimpanzees, which display behaviors of organized violence, such as warlike raids and premeditated planning against other chimps. Despite our capacity for abstract thought, language, culture, and social structures, our survival instincts are rooted in our animal nature. Archaeological findings show that weapons like stone axes date back 2.6 million years, and the first evidence of projectile weapons such as spears date back 400,000 years. Neanderthal and Homo erectus fossils exhibit cranial injuries, suggesting blunt force trauma from accidents or conflicts with other tribes. During times of hardship, when resources were scarce, competition intensified due to the need to secure food, water, and shelter. Stress and crises drive aggression and combativeness, traits seen in both animals and humans. Mass graves highlight the savagery of early man. At Jebel Sahaba in Sudan, individuals dating back 13,000 through 14,000 years were found with embedded projectile points and signs of violent death. In South Dakota, fossil records from 1325 AD show evidence of Crow Creek Massacre, where several individuals suffered scalping, arrow wounds, and blunt force trauma. The psychological aspects of violence are complex and can develop early in life, influenced by various factors such as genetics, hormones, and neurodevelopment. Children who have experienced traumatic brain injuries or prenatal drug exposure often show reduced activity in the brain's frontal lobe, which is crucial for impulse control, decision-making, and social behavior. Genetics also plays a role in violent behavior. Studies by Huyan Ri and Erwin D. Waldman in 2002 revealed that identical twins are more likely to exhibit violent behavior than fraternal twins or non-related individuals. This research also identified the MAOA gene, or the warrior gene, which may increase susceptibility to aggression. Overactivity in the amygdala and dysfunction in the hypothalamus can also lead to heightened aggression, keeping individuals in a constant state of fight or flight. Additionally, low serotonin levels and imbalances in dopamine, along with elevated testosterone and cortisol levels, contribute to violent tendencies. On the psychological side, certain personality traits can make individuals impulsive and indifferent to consequences. Narcissistic and psychopathic personas often exhibit violence and hostility. Mood disorders like depression, anxiety, and bipolar disorder can lead to violent reactions within individuals feel threatened, cornered, or irritable. Distorted thinking patterns and poor problem-solving skills can cause frustration, which may escalate to acts of rage. Other dimensions of violence manifest in upbringing and influence. Family dynamics play major roles in our psychological development. If a child witnesses assault or acts of brutality, they may be at a higher risk of exhibiting similar behaviors. Parents who are emotionally unavailable or lack involvement and supervision can cause feelings of abandonment in a child. Child abuse also contributes to these issues. Abandoned children may experience low self-esteem, increasing the risk of violent behavior. Conversely, overly authoritative parenting can also lead to violent behavior. Some cultures and communities may encourage acts of violence. Areas with social inequality, poverty, high crime rates, and deficits in education and employment opportunities can increase aggression. During youth, the desire to fit in can lead to associating with delinquent peers, creating a predisposition toward violence due to peer pressure. Let's examine how urban and rural environments encounter violence. In urban areas, population density increases stress and frustration, leading to conflict. Constant interaction with strangers and competition for resources heighten the chances of aggression. Exposure to noise from traffic, construction, and sirens can cause agitation. The anonymity of large urban areas can foster antisocial behavior, amplifying aggression due to a lack of accountability. Economic disparities and insufficient social services also fuel violent behavior. In rural areas, violence is less widespread but still occurs differently. Isolation and tight-knit communities can reduce agitation through social support. However, when violence does occur, economic stress, cultural norms, and limited access to healthcare and law enforcement are contributing factors. For example, subsistent living during bad farming seasons can cause stress. Aggressive behaviors are generally discouraged in rural areas, but when they do surface, they can be more severe due to higher rates of gun ownership. Despite our technological, medical, and educational advancements, violent and extreme acts across the world seem to be increasing. According to the United Nations, global attacks rose by 15% in 2023. The complexity of our world is reflected in various forms of modern tensions. Violence manifests in numerous scenarios, with mass violence like terrorism and mass shootings being predominant. Other factors include cultural and structural violence, such as racial and ethnic conflicts, religious violence, civil wars, political assassinations, and land disputes, particularly prevalent in the Middle East, Africa, and parts of South Asia, accounting for 70 to 80% of global conflicts. Domestic violence is widespread, but notably prevalent in India, Pakistan, Nigeria, and Brazil. Sexual violence is most reported in South Africa, India, the United States, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Brazil. Community and urban violence are more prevalent in the Americas, with El Salvador, Honduras, and Venezuela leading in gang-related violence. The United States also faces significant gang issues in cities like Chicago, Los Angeles, New York City, Detroit, and Baltimore. Public pressure to address gang activity can lead to stricter policies, sometimes resulting in police brutality. This disproportionately affects Afro-American and Latino populations, who may be profiled or even killed by the police despite not being involved in any gang activities. The United States is unique in its influence and glamorization of violence through music, games, and media. Constant exposure to violent media desensitizes individuals and normalizes brutality. Studies show that violent media can make some children more prone to imitating violence. High levels of poverty and a lack of opportunities, combined with strong gang presence and violent media influence, raise the question of whether the United States manufactures its own prisoners, a topic for another discussion. Modern violence also appears in more subtle forms, such as social media algorithms, cyberbullying, and online harassment. While not as physically brutal, these forms still contribute to violence of our era. Factors fueling violence can manifest in various ways. Some of the most common motivations include revenge, power and control, fear, anger, greed, status, peer pressure, hatred, envy, and thrill-seeking. At the core of many violent acts is frustration. According to John Dollard and Neil Miller's frustration-aggression hypothesis, an aggressive drive emerges when a person is blocked from achieving a goal. If this drive is strong enough, it can lead to aggressive behavior and violence. Emotional arousal, such as anger and irritation, increases adrenaline and heart rate, causing heightened stress responses and impulsive actions. Frustration can also be a learned behavior. If individuals learn early on that acting out in frustration helps them achieve their goals, they may be more likely to react violently. Low self-esteem and isolation can further drive aggressive behaviors. Isolated or unsupported individuals may lack effective coping mechanisms, leading to violent outbursts. Alcohol and drugs significantly escalate violent encounters. These substances lower inhibitions, alter brain chemistry, and increase the likelihood of aggressive acts. Long-term use can cause lasting brain changes, making individuals prone to violence even when not under the influence. Other factors fueling violence include psychopathy and conditions such as PTSD, which can drive individuals to act aggressively. We have taken a glimpse into the many different things that create violence in the world. We can now go over practices that can help us better navigate stress. Anger and aggression are purely sympathetic nervous system activity. Tapping into calm and resting features, which are parasympathetic in nature, allows us to slow down and process our thoughts and emotions more effectively. In most cases, our cortisol and adrenaline levels are fueled by things outside of ourselves. We must realize that no good decisions can be accomplished from a state of stress and agitation. The only thing we can end up doing is quote-unquote shooting ourselves in the foot. Learning how to relax in every situation we encounter sets us up for success. It keeps us out of jail, it keeps us from harming and even being harmed. Learning to focus on things that are in our control is our greatest power and ally. Methods like meditation, physical exercise, and a balanced diet are imperative for being able to think clearly. Doing breathing exercises when you are not even stressed is also beneficial because it prepares you in advance for when a stressful moment presents itself. Getting enough sleep on a regular basis, minimizing time on social media and devices, taking walks in calming, non-threatening environments such as wooded areas or parks lowers cortisol levels and adrenaline. Daily gratitude and writing our thoughts in a journal can help us to process our thoughts. Developing a new hobby or even having a pet can be beneficial for stress. The main thing out of all this is to learn how to be more relaxed than when we are stressed. A good percentage of our problems exists within ourselves, not outside of ourselves. If all else fails, seek professional help to best of your ability. Some may need assisted therapy or medication in some cases. Preventing violence in our communities can be challenging, but by working together, we can mitigate its devastating impact. The most crucial step toward reducing hostility and stress that leads to violence is public education. Education should encompass a broad range of subjects tailored to meet the needs of the global community. A strong community structure is foundational for success, and unity with our neighbors has historically proven beneficial. Problems often arise when we lose community cohesion. To revive the spirit of collective community engagement, cultural changes are a must. These changes should become the norm, encouraging governments to increase funding and support for mental health services, as well as alcohol and substance abuse programs. Conflict mediation programs are also vital, offering alternatives to violent responses. Economic opportunities must not be overlooked. As the world evolves, it's imperative that innovative minds collaborate to come up with solutions that benefit all. Implementing more youth programs and equipping parents with knowledge on effective parenting can prevent the development of troubled youth into angry adults. By setting aside our differences and collaborating, there is no limit to what we can achieve as a human race.